I'm 𝗪𝗀𝗜𝗄, physical therapist with Run Smart Online. Super excited to have you here today because I want to talk to you about running faster. Now, whether you have a race coming up or you're done with your races, this stuff all makes a difference because if you can learn to run, improve your run form, you can actually run faster. Now, the cool thing about this is that you can do this without running more miles, without having to do more speed work. You can just leverage. So there's a couple things you can do to run faster. You can train smarter, you can get a better training plan, you can get stronger, strength exercises and better strength help running, but also your run form. It's the third thing. And the cool thing about run form, as I talked about it yesterday, is that when your run form is better, you can leverage it just on race day. Like, you can't go back and run more miles, but with your run form, you can use it on race day, you can use it on your runs to hold the ship together when it feels like the house is burning down around you. So I want to show you a runner here in a second, before and after. This is a cool way to look at it, but what I want to talk to you about is making sure that you learn how to run from the whole body and open your stride. Now, before I forget, we're closing out our offer to you to have us analyze your running. You can take a look at the link in this post. If you're interested, it closes this Friday, so depending on when you watch this, it may or may not be available. But if you want our help with this stuff, go to myrunform.com or check out the link in this post. So here's what I want to talk to you about, is that most runners shuffle. They don't pick up their feet, they scuff. And when they get tired, they end up doing this more and more and more, which then further exacerbates the issue, makes them slower and slower and slower. So what you want to start doing in your running, especially when you get tired, is leveraging your anatomy, leveraging better form to kind of carry you through those tough spots. Yesterday I talked about, when I went live, about battling through tough spots and racing and running, because 1 mile could feel like you're in hell, and the next one you could be on cloud 9, and that can swing back and forth in a race. So you have to battle through these tough spots. Now, here's the trouble with most runners. I want to show you a runner here in a minute. If you have any questions on this, make sure you leave them in the post. Let's see here. Let's see. Come on. I should figure this out before I did this. Here we go. All right. So screens. There we go. All right. So I want to show you. This is typically how most runners are kind of slogging down the road. I did show this video the other day, and they tend to not pick up their feet very well. So let's go ahead and just pause this runner. She's going to push off, and if you see how she's pushing off on one foot, she's touching down on the other foot. So if you look at this foot here, push off and touch down in the same stride, or at the same point. So it really just means that she can travel the length of this line over and over and over again. And then as she gets tired and people get into fatigue or they get pain during races or long runs, that gets shorter and shorter and shorter. What I want to teach you is how you can actually open that back up, because if you can do that, there's a ton of speed on the other side. Here's the perfect example. So here's a runner that we worked with in the past, and I want to see if we can. Okay, I'm going to play this for you. This is a prior runner that we worked with. So what you're going to see here is a couple different things. One, we have, actually I'm going to let this play so you guys can see it a little bit. Speed it up. So you can see how there's no up kick on the back of his stride, and actually what most people don't realize is they would look at this and say, oh, he's midfoot striking, great. He actually does it different on the other side. So a very uneven stride. He's heel striking on one side, midfoot on the other. I'm going to show you how we clean this all up for him. But the key thing I want to show you is that particularly when he's pushing off, you can see when he's pushing off on which is his right side, he's already touching down on the opposite side. There's no openness to that stride. So when you push off, you want to take this force that you're putting into the ground here, and you want to launch it, your body as far forward as possible. Problem is, just like the last one I showed you, he's touching down really, really close. So how do you get that stride to open up? How can you maximize that distance? Because that's the name of the game when you run faster. Push off and travel as far as you can down the road, because when you're on the ground, you're slowing down and you're increasing your risk for injury. We don't want pitter-patter running. We don't want too high of a cadence. We don't want too low of a cadence. Again, this is what we work with on our run analysis. We teach you how to do these things. So if you want help with it, make sure you check out the link in this post. But let me show you the after view. So now I'll put these side by side here in a minute. Let's move this back over for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and play the same exact runner. And you're going to see a couple different things. Let's go full speed. Very much smoother stride. I'm going to show this side by side with the other one. Let's slow it down a little bit. And when he pushes off, now look at his push off on let's go to his right side because that's what we looked at before. He's pushing off. You can see how this leg here is not even set up to touch the ground yet. It's still in the swing phase. So as he releases the force of this right leg, the treadmill is spinning underneath him, right? So his foot has left the ground. Let's actually zoom in on this for you all. and bring it up a little bit. So he's pushing off. Now watch the treadmill, the belt, feed underneath him. Now, in the instance of run form, if you can just get maybe 1 to 2 inches times 80 steps a minute, that's a lot of distance you're going to travel. Think about a marathon. If you got an inch every step that you took, an extra inch, that's a lot of distance you can cover without having to hit the ground and start and stop again. So when we look at these runners side by side, I think it's the clearest way to look at it. But what we taught this runner was opening the stride, finding his figure 4, and getting away from this kind of high cadence, high turnover type running. So watch this side by side. And I'm going to get rid of my face on here, lucky for you guys. And that, and that. So just watch this. I'm going to play it at full speed. I'm going to play it a couple times, but this is what run form can change to. It's not a huge, drastic change that you see with a lot of runners. They can actually get this kind of change by just making a few simple corrections. So let's slow it down a little bit now. And I'm going to pause this and show you a little bit more here in a second. We'll go even slower. And now I want to pause this and let's look at a couple different spots in his stride. And I think the best place to start is on this right foot. So when he's about to touch down on the ground, bring this right leg through. So we transitioned him, right? Using our run analysis, we transitioned him from a heel strike, that straight leg out to the front. Look on the other side how he's got this nice bent knee landing. And watch as he hits the ground. Look at his left leg and how far that's flexed forward versus here. And you can see the angle pretty much right here. This is what we're looking at. Here and down versus here. Oh, that's a bad line. Here and across. By getting that leg to lift up, by getting the higher heel kick, the higher butt kick, essentially he's getting himself to open the stride. But here's what you need to know. You can't just kick yourself in the butt. You need to learn, and I'm going to show you this here in a second, you need to learn how to drive from the hip. You need to push your knee forward, and that's what's opening your stride. It fixes cadence, it fixes a lot of things. But when this runner started implementing these changes, I don't have his results in front of me, but I can tell you this guy did fantastic in changing his stride, and it paid off big time from a Boston Marathon qualifying to a Boston qualifying event. So when we look at how do we get this to achieve, how do we achieve this? Let's go to the good view here. As he's pushing off and driving through, look at how his knee is leading the way. So people asked me yesterday, can you describe the figure 4 position? Here's the figure 4 position right here. This is what we try to get with a lot of our runners. And leading out with the knee is what's going to give you can see how this is kind of a number 4. Leading out with that knee is what generates a ton of force for you, so when you push off, you can travel as far as possible. Again, remember, when you look at the runner on the right, when he's pushing off, he's almost touching down instantaneously, particularly on this side, right? He's pushing off. There's no openness to that stride. He's already on the ground within a single frame. There's no carry. So if you can work on opening that stride by finding your figure 4, by leveraging it, it's really crucial. Now, again, this is only part of the pie, right? You need to make sure that you are having a good strength. You need to have good form and good mechanics. And when you marry all that stuff together, that's when you get the happy medium of having great form that allows you to run faster. If you want help with this, we do this just like you're seeing me now, go through and dissect everyone's running on here and talk through it and to show you exactly what you're doing to help your running. Go ahead and go to the link in this post. We close this out on Friday. We will help you with your running. We'll show you exactly what you need to do to improve, to run faster, to stop getting hurt, all the great things that you want to accomplish in your running. Check out the link in the post or go to myrunform.com if you want some help. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon, and hopefully this was somewhat helpful. I know I rambled there quite a bit, probably in the middle. All right, guys, have a great day. Bye-bye.